Welcome to Sober.Coffee, a weekly coffee chat sharing experience, strength, and hope for anyone on the sober road to recovery. You can download Sober.Coffee weekly on all podcast platforms and check us out on Instagram at Sober.Coffee Podcast and on Twitter at Sober.Coffee Pod. To learn more about us and to help support these sessions, visit online at Sober.Coffee. Here are your hosts, two guys on their own path of recovery, Mike and Glenn. Let's join them at the coffee shop.
Gee, what's up, man?
Love being in the coffee shop with you.
Merry
Christmas, man.
Follow la la la.
Ho, ho, ho. Right?
Oh, no, excuse me?
Ho, ho, ho.
What are you bringing her into it for?
You filthy mind.
I know. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Merry Christmas. This is our third.
Is it really? If you would have put a gun to my head, everything's blurring together. Is it our third?
This is our third
Christmas, really?
Sober.Coffee Podcast Christmas party.
How long are we going to do this?
I don't know. You just signed up for another year. So
Yeah. You extended my my agreement another 12 months.
So funny. I know when we started out, we sat at that dinner. It was right at the beginning of COVID, and we were just trying to find a way to, just to help people connect,
right?
During COVID, because it was a mess and no meetings were going on. And I said, hey, why don't we just jump on? And I remember you looking at me like, we were like, well, what are we going to talk about?
I know,
like,
right?
We don't have any content. And I'm like, well, we have at least 12 episodes, right? We talk
12
about,
steps.
And you tell your story, I tell my story.
Now we're at the 14.
We're 14. We talk about behind the counter. That's 15.
And now how many episodes are we in? How many we
200,
dropped?
200
yeah,
or so.
200, yeah.
And
we're like Seinfeld, though. It's a show about nothing. And we just...
Or you could almost say it's a show about everything.
Or it's a show. I like that.
A show about life. It's a show about, getting life back. We think of Christmas. I don't know. It's almost bittersweet. One of the things I like about our church is, our church isn't like church face, right? I mean, our church, our motto at church is come as you are, and that's kind of how our coffee podcast, come as you are. It's kind of how AA is, come as you are, right? And for so many years, we had church face. We had, work face, you just put it on, right? You put on a mask. I did that. You did that. We put on a mask.
You put on your Christmas sweater. You're looking good, man.
We would come into any situation, right? And what I used to do is I used to come into a situation, and I'm like, okay, what role do I have to be? Who do I have to be? What are the expectations? What do I need to do? And I would chameleon my way through that event, including Christmas. And, it just wasn't real. And I think... one of our values today is it's okay to come into Christmas and say, hey, I'm not having a good Christmas. I'm not having the Christmas spirit. Or I got a lot of crap going on in my life right now, right? Or, I'm, things are going sideways. I'm not having the ho, ho, ho. And I think that's okay. And I think a really key part of that is to understand, even if we are feeling the ho ho ho, somebody next to us may not be, right? And I think the value that we've gotten out of sobriety is serving others. Is that we are more empathetic and more aware of how people are doing around us, and we actually care how people are doing around us, and we can reach out and lend a hand. And
well, I think you just wrapped up the true spirit of the season.
All right. Well, hey, man, Merry Christmas.
No. I mean, I think it's a good jumping point because it is about helping other people. I mean, the whole concept of Santa and
life is about helping.
Helping other people now. But to your point, it wasn't before. When I walked into a holiday party before, Mike was the show. In my own head, I was the show. I was the storyteller. It was all about me. Now I walk into a room and I look for the kid sitting in the corner saying, "What? I'm not feeling it." And I don't get all in their face and say "fa la 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 la." I just listen and connect to their pain and let them know that there is joy on the other side of the journey. Right.
So let's talk about gifts. So what's your strategy for gifts today versus what it was?
Okay. What it was material. What it was impressing myself that I'm impressing them.
I love that.
I think always there was a desire to get them what they wanted, but it was more important to get them something. Today, getting something has nothing to do with it. I do my shopping throughout the year because I will see something that screams that person. That's the people in my inner circle. The season now means more about the people in my outer circle. The people that are on the outer circle or the fringe of life. There's nothing better than taking that ornament off the tree at church and providing gifts for a family who has to make the choice between an electric bill or an electric train.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, no, I looked at, as I look back, right, I think of the good memories and bad memories. First of all, growing up, I had a lot of good memories of Christmas Day. We didn't really get a lot of stuff during the year. I mean, if I wanted something during the year, if I wanted a bike, I typically went out and earned money and bought it.
That's a crazy concept.
Yeah.
You had to earn your own shit?
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, it was crazy, Mikey. On Christmas Day, man, I walked and there were, I would open 50 gifts on Christmas Day, but I would get nothing throughout the year. I mean, it was just how my family did it, and Christmas Day was always major. And then during the year, I used to grind it out, and I used to have to work and buy my own stuff, and we never went out to eat. We never got a Coke at a Kmart, right, or a slushie at a Kmart. I can remember one time getting a slushie at a Kmart. If you were thirsty, there's the water fountain, or wait till you get home. That's just how we grew up, right? So with my daughters, because I had such a hole inside, I would overgift. I would try to buy people's love and overgift, and it was obnoxious. There was one year, I remember my daughter, I bought her 20. She opened up 21 Ralph Lauren clothing. Like, she was into tennis, so like 21 boxes she opened just of Ralph Lauren tennis clothing. Yeah. And I thought I was the dad of the year. And I was not.
Meanwhile, you were.
I was not, and I was empty inside. I had no inner fulfillment. So, and yeah, I tried to buy people's love, and that's different today. So I hope my daughters aren't listening, because they're going to get one or two things.
And it ain't going to be Ralph Lauren, right?
No, but you know what, man? It's different. I give time, I give attention, I give love, caring.
So and there's the segue. So you got the holidays. It's about two things, right? It's about the gift, but it's about the get together, right? Did you have a lot of get together? Did you, like, when I was growing up, my mom and dad would put me in the car and we'd go see Uncle Joe and Aunt Marge, and we'd go see the Christmas lights, and then we'd have everyone over for Christmas, and right. So it was more about, as much about the get together as it was about the gifts. Did you have a similar scenario?
Oh yeah,
because I want to unpack that in a second. And
no, when I grew up, it was about. We always got together with family and stuff, and that was really important. But I didn't know it was important at that time.
Ah, exactly.
I didn't value it.
Right.
I always wanted more. I was always a kid of more. I always, if I got one, I wanted two. If I got four, I wanted nine. And so there was always that emptiness. So there was no contentment.
So then growing up, you morphed into a gift giver. So it was more about the gift giving than the get together.
And if I gave you a gift,
you expected.
I would measure your enthusiasm, your smile. I would measure your level of gratitude. I just gave her X, and she wasn't grateful, and it would grind on me. Nothing was right, Mikey. It didn't matter. The whole process, nothing was good enough. Nothing felt right. Nothing was right. If I wanted your smile at X and you delivered the smile at X, you didn't smile long enough. It was.
So how did you approach
crazy.
the holidays with that mentality? Like, were you stressed out about the holidays? I'm talking about back in your day when
I had
when you're out there
expectations.
drinking. So
I had expectations of 10.
Mm-hmm.
I would get a product of a 6,
and you drink a
and
fifth.
I would drink
A fifth. Did you see how I did the numeric thing?
that equals 11, but that's okay.
Right.
No, but that's what I did, and you know what? I would get drunk and to the point where I wouldn't care, and then I would be resentful for a year.
Right.
You know, I mean, it was just
and go through it all
was just
again.
so bad. I mean, God, I just think of that math right now,
Right.
and nothing added up.
Right. Well, I could tell you that I had very good childhood memories of Christmas. We were similar in that we didn't do a lot of things during the year. We didn't have the fancy.
I don't think a lot of people did back then.
No. I mean, I had a paper route, and that's where my spending money came from. And that was me rolling papers at 4:30 in the morning.
I did the same thing at 9 years old.
Rain, sleet, and hail or snow. I was out there. But Christmas, so and we didn't have the fanciest couch. I mean, we didn't have a plastic living room. It was a worn down secondhand couch. We didn't do things during the year, but at Christmas there was an abundance of giving. So I would say that my life, and I'm no psychiatrist, but I would say somewhere in my life I tried to emulate that feeling, to recapture that feeling of the joy of receiving. And I could never give myself enough to recapture that feeling, if that makes sense. So then I get older, and again, you drink out of resentment. I drank out of a seeking to try and find this peace in myself that was kind of embodied during the holidays, and that never came back to me again until after I got sober, of course. Because at the end, it was me about trying to drink my way into that feeling. Truly. I mean, I just thought, put the right music on, get the mood, the Christmas lights lit up, have a cocktail, everything's going to come back to my childhood. It was that inner peace I was looking for, is what I've come to realize. And it was, and you're never going to recapture that, but yet you do. It's possible.
So the one thing that just hit me when you said that is, living sober today, I can find that inner peace.
Yes.
On a Tuesday afternoon in the middle of July.
That's right.
I don't need Christmas Day to do it.
That's right. So you know what Christmas then becomes for me today in 2023?
What?
Giving somebody else the gift. Giving somebody, handing them the box that says, inside this box, you can get closer to that inner peace that you felt when you were a kid. Open the box, use the tools.
I'm getting a little emotional here because it just hit me. Like, it used to be all about the gifts. Now it's about the memories. And I just had an opportunity to spend a weekend with my family, and I spent 5 minutes with my daughter on the dock, out on the water, as I was saying goodbye to her, just she and I was tearing up. And that's the gift. That's the gift I have today. That 5 minutes, I trust me, I don't need anything, and I don't want to sound like a jerk, but I don't need anything. I don't want any physical, material thing. That 5 minutes, knowing the effort and time that it took for her to be there at that event, she had to take PTO. I mean, PTO to her is like pulling
Gold.
teeth.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's like a golden
you value
tooth.
those days.
Yeah, and she took PTO, and the effort that she put in, and that 5 minute snippet, man, was, you can buy me anything Ralph Lauren you want. It will never touch that 5 minutes of one-on-one, just emotional time that I had with her.
Okay. That's Norman Rockwell. The lights are down, the fire is crackling, and you're sitting, by the fireplace embraced in warmth, right?
Yep.
Let me flip the light switch on for a second. 9 years ago, you were the asshole dad that was unreliable to her.
Totally.
So the gift that we can give the listener today who's just starting out is that if you follow a program, you can have those 5 minutes on a dock. It's good, and it might not happen in 9 months. It might take 9 years. It might take 8 years. It doesn't matter. But if you follow a program of living a better life, you have a possibility to receive that gift. That's the gift we give to them, is that they can ultimately get the gift for themselves.
Yeah, and so maybe we could categorize that gift as a gift of hope.
The gift of
right?
hope.
So
yeah.
as we have sober curious listeners, new sober listeners, right? I mean, hey, those first days and weeks and months of sobriety, it's not fun.
No.
I mean, I know it's not fun. I use the P word, pain. That was one of the most painful times of my life is having to sit with the shit and not having the tools to deal with it. And then just having to sit there. And so the hope is, first of all, there's a chapter in the big book called There Is a Solution. Doesn't say there might be, doesn't say there could be, it says there is. Now, you got to get outside of your head and your ego and your self-focus. You got to get rid of all that stuff to be able to get into the world to start digging around, right? But there's a gift of hope. And one of the things, I'm working with a sponsor right now, I mean, he looks at me and the progress that I've made with my daughters, and he wants that same progress today. You know, and what he forgets, and that I remind him, is it takes time. It no longer, he still has ego. You know, he wants it on his timeline, on his path, and you know, hey, they should. I'm like, no, they shouldn't. You should. You can no longer control they.
That's right.
You control you.
That's right.
And what I've learned, and this is absolutely brilliant, and it's so hard to grasp when you're going in it. I've learned the value in waiting. Like my daughter that bakes, and I use this many times before, the recipe says bake for 40 minutes. She hates waiting 40 minutes. You know, she wants to pull it out in 12. If you pull it out in 12, it sucks. You don't have a cake. You know, you got to let it bake. And what I've learned is, as impatient as I was at times, that was when the most valuable work was being done on them and on me. Patience is a wonderful thing. But if we could give a gift to our listeners today, to our friends at Sober.Coffee, it's the gift of hope. And this AA stuff works. A lot of people out on social media says AA doesn't work. You know, our friend Dr. John, love him. He has so many great insights. He's like, Glenn, it doesn't work because people can't get out of their own ego and surrender. You know, it doesn't work the way they want it to work. And therefore they say it doesn't work.
Right. And I would say that it works on two fronts. First of all, it's worked to keep me abstinent. Okay?
Yep.
But more importantly, it's worked to deliver a better life experience for me. But it takes work to get that, to have it work for you. It takes work. You know, my grandson is 11 years old, love him to death, and he wants the game for his game system, and he wants it today. It's a $200 price tag, and he wants it now. And, you know, he'll probably end up with it. I hope he's not listening. If he's listening to Sober.Coffee, I got issues. But
Absolutely.
But you know, he'll probably get it under the Christmas tree, right? But the fact of the matter is, throughout the course of the year, if he wants that game, we have to explain the concept of saving $5 a week. And if you save $5 a week for X amount of weeks, you're going to be able to get that gift. You have to invest. You have to invest in time. You know, we certainly don't want to tell them you can have it now and you'll make 20 payments of $20, right? But if you do it the right way, you invest your effort now, bank it, and then 20 months down the road, you got your gift, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd certainly, and I don't get me wrong. I mean, I have some nice gifts lined up. You know, not many, not expensive ones. You know, for my kids and my family. But the best gift, and they know this. They know this, and that's why I love it. The best gift that I can give them is a sober dad a sober Glenn.
Right.
That is because without that,
Right. No.
nothing else
Nothing
happens.
else. No.
And there were probably many, many Christmases where that was the gift that they wished for.
Right. Yep.
You know, so I mean, hey, gifts are great. Gifts are fun. You know, the holidays are great. Christmas is great. You know, for
The get-togethers are better.
yeah, for me, Christmas is a reminder of, you know, when my higher power, I mean, was born. You know, and I never looked at it like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that's part of it today for me. You know, that's I celebrate that because without my higher power, I'm nothing.
Right. And I celebrate love. You know, I mean, I think there's a grand opportunity to extend love to people who need to feel loved.
So, what's your definition of love?
It's almost intangible. It's like describe God. I mean, it's almost it's a definition of love is unconditional care, compassion, empathy. I mean, there's a million words that back up into love, but the bottom line for me is it's condition, which means it needs to be unconditional to really have value. If otherwise, it's just a transaction.
Somebody asked me off the cuff, and I mean, I went through 50-some years of my life, and I didn't even know what love meant. I thought it was some feeling in the pit of my stomach, you know, some gooey feeling. But how I define love today is where, and when I tell people I love them, because I use that term for guys, I use it for my family. But when I say I love you, that means I care more about you and your well-being than I care about my own.
There you go.
And I use that term often, and that's kind of the serving mentality. But I love the word love, and I love my definition of it because it helps me. And every time I say it to somebody, I mean, hey, man, I really care about you and your well-being more than I care about me and what I want in this moment.
That's awesome, man.
So I love Christmas. Merry Christmas, brother.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you, too, and to our listeners. Yeah, right.
Sober.Coffee Christmas party.
Yep. Will there be a fourth?
You said there would be. We'll find out.
All right.
We'll find out.
Love you, brother.
All right, love you, man. Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for today's coffee chat. To contact the show, email us at podcast@sober.coffee. If you need immediate help, the AA hotline is 800-839-1686. The National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 800-273-8255. Remember, Mike and Glenn are sharing their own journey on the path to recovery. Any suggestions, medical or otherwise, are their own experiences and should not be viewed as professional advice. See you next week, and remember, there is a solution.
Stay safe in the city of Chicago.